Hi there, hi DCFX trader. I am Animal Akbar, host DCFX Indonesia. Welcome to the leading trading program DCFX US Stock. This event was accompanied by WPB. In this episode, we talk about basic knowledge. To become a good or successful trader, the knowledge is a key. It is very important to learn. So that's why today we discussing about market insights, profit versus cash flow. So what do you think, Mr. Sebastian, about the subjects of today's topic, profit and cash flow?
Yeah, I guess profit is probably the most famous. Most investors, they follow the profit. So that's what people use to make the valuation for the company, to decide if they want to buy or sell that company.
Yeah.
The bigger the profit, the better. But there's also cash flow, and that's what I use when I'm making the analysis and the investment. So these two things, it's accounting, maybe it sounds a bit complicated, sounds difficult for people to understand. But in reality, it's not difficult. It's quite simple, easy to understand. Hopefully, we can explain now. It's easy to understand.
Easy to understand. So, what is profit?
So, profit, which is that's the main information that investors use for their analysis. Both profit and cash flow, the concept is the same. So, you take the sales, which is the money coming into the company, and then you minus the costs.
Oh, okay.
And then the profit will be what is the result afterwards. So sales minus the cost, and the cost is including, interest, tax, the operating costs, like renting the office, all those kind of things. But profit is also including some other costs. Which is not cash. We call those like non-cash costs. And the main one for the US stock is depreciation and stock option. So the company must expense the depreciation and the stock option in their profit, so it's minus, but it's not cash. They don't have to pay the cash for that. So that's profit. Cash flow is same, money coming in, the sales, minus all the costs, the result of all that. But the cash flow is a bit different because it's cash, it's real, it's not including the non-cash costs. So it's not including the depreciation or the stock option. But the cash flow is including the investment spending. So it's all the costs, the operating costs, the interest, the tax, and the investment spending. The profit is the costs, like the operating costs, the interest, the tax, but also the non-cash costs. So that's the difference between the two.
About cash flow and profit.
Yes.
So, which is more important between the two? Which is better, profit or cash flow for traders to know?
Well, in theory, both of them will be the same eventually. So, for example, in cash flow, you're including the investment. So let's say you buy the car for the investment. You pay the cash to buy the car. In the cash flow, you will have big minus. In the profit, you will depreciate the car. So maybe 5 years. You spread the spending over 5 years. So it's not one time. But eventually they will be the same. So in theory, profit and cash flow should be the same. But like many things in life, in practice, they are not necessarily the same. And sometimes there can be a big difference between the two.
Can be big difference. Okay. Discussing about cash flow and profit, which companies have lower or higher companies? About cash flow.
The cash flow, yeah. I mean, cash flow is really the key for investors, even if they follow the profit, because if you want to get the dividend, so we want to get the cash flow from the company to us, then the dividend is coming from cash. So it's better, in my opinion, to follow the cash flow than the profit, because that is the real cash. So as I said, the difference between the cash flow and the profit is a lot to do with the investment. If the company is spending a lot on investment, the cash flow will be smaller than the profit. But then later, if the company is spending less on investment, maybe they even sell the asset, so they have positive cash gain from the investment, those companies will have higher cash flow compared with the profit. So if you're an investor, obviously it's better to buy the company which has higher cash flow, which will give you the positive surprise because they can pay the bigger dividend. And so if we look right now at the stock, there is some which have cash flow lower than the profit because they are doing investment. An example of that would be Amazon. So Amazon is spending quite a lot of money on investment, so their cash flow is almost nothing. So they have a profit, but very small cash flow. And so tend to be that investor will be disappointed maybe with the company. And if you look at the market, the price of Amazon share is not performing very well because the cash flow is low. And then the opposite, a company which has higher cash flow compared with the profit would be MGM. So MGM is not that popular because the sale wasn't doing well. Like in the COVID, the hotel, the casino is not doing that well. So the company is not that popular, but they are selling some asset. So they have positive investment cash flow. So Amazon has negative investment cash flow, big. MGM has positive cash flow, investment cash flow, big. And so the cash flow of MGM is higher than the profit. And if you look at the dividend, in MGM, they don't pay the dividend, they do the share buyback, but it's the same thing. If you look at the equity from MGM, it's very big. So it's about 18% of the value of the company. So the dividend is like 18% yield from MGM because the cash flow is high. So that is the attraction of the high cash flow company, but it's like a secret. The investors look at the profit, it seems low, so they don't like the company, but the cash flow coming out for the dividend is big.
Okay. So this is about profit and cash flow. Okay, so I think it's enough for this episode. Thank you, Mr. Sebastian, you sharing about the market insight, profit and cash flow. This is the important news for the all traders and investors, I think. And thank you for you all the traders who stay tuned from start and finish. Okay, don't forget, install right now DCFX Super App, available on Play Store and App Store. And I just want to remind about disclaimer. Derivative trading and other leveraged financial instrument contain risks. Please pay attention to manage risk. Don't forget to follow our social media. And trust me, with DCFX, everyone can trade. Thank you, Mr. Sebastian, founder Shop Focus. Okay, and for you all traders, maybe have comments or requests about the topic, maybe can drop comments. It's okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Finally, it's me, Anamil Akbar, host DCFX Indonesia, and this is Mr. Sebastian, founder Shop Focus. We can see you again in the next episode. Okay, it's you and bye-bye.
Bye.